Hey everybody, good morning. Sorry, it's been a while since I uploaded a video of any kind, and I wanted to take a few minutes and catch up, let you know how things are going. Um, I wanted to make an update about group classes in a second, which I'm also going to put into the body of this post, and then, when I share this video, I'll put it in writing as well. And then I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with kind of the state of dog training as an industry, and what's going on with like the kind of fire wars or flame wars that are going on social media. So let's start with a quick update. I am sorry it is halfway through February and I have not made a new video. Things have been pretty busy. December was the busiest I've had, or a busiest holiday season I've had in a while, or ever really. January was fairly busy as well. February is shaping up to be just as busy, which is good. Sorry, light's doing weird things with my hair. We're going through some transitions. Jennifer's going through some work stuff. Family wise, I've been kind of quiet about it. My dad was diagnosed with cancer back in, see if I can just light a little bit here. My dad was diagnosed with cancer back in November, and has been going through chemo and radiation treatment. And this is his last week. He's currently in the hospital with an infection, but hopefully he'll make a speedy recovery. They can finish his chemo and his radiation this week, and he can just focus on recovering from there. Any good thoughts or prayers you want to send our way would be most appreciated. I want to make a quick announcement about group classes. So last fall, group classes were pretty busy. The new year has thrown us a couple of curveballs. And because of that, I'm going to change how I'm doing group classes. Instead of doing group classes every week, I'm going to do group classes once a month. And I might do this through summer if we can get some cooler, or if I can, schedule it like later in the day or something like that. But right now, it's getting really difficult to try to keep scheduling group classes, and the logistics of, when is, let me see if I can't, sorry, the glare is bothering me a little bit. I'm trying to, there we go. Maybe that's a little better. No? Okay. The logistics of trying to manage group classes, who's going to be there, when we get ringed out. We're canceled last Sunday. I got hit, or not last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, I got hit in pace, and obviously had to take care of that. So I think I'm going to move to once a month until I can either figure out a better location to do group, or, the demand goes back to being high enough. Y'all know that group kind of makes me nervous anyways. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. And again, I'll make an announcement on that. I'll update the group schedule. I'll put it in the Discord, which we have a Concerned Canines Discord, by the way. And then I'll, of course, share it on social media. So, all right. So the last thing I really want to talk about today, and I don't really want to take this video super long, but I think it's a good idea every so often to revisit guiding principles, right? And talk about why you're doing what you're doing. And I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is I don't know how many of you follow certain other dog trainers, Zach George in particular, Michael Shikasio, I think is how his name's. These are two really big names in the not only the dog training world, but in the force-free dog training world. They have huge social media followings, and they've been kind of engaging with other dog trainers out there that are using shock collars, prongs, etc. And it's the way most arguments over the internet or social media does. It's gotten ugly pretty quickly, and I've been staying out of it. And the reason I've been staying out of it is partially because my stress level cannot handle, my anxiety level cannot handle just constantly dealing with trolls and flame wars and everything. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to engage with that. I don't want to talk about it because it just stresses me out too much to constantly be fighting with people I don't know over something that I can't really convince them that I'm right about, right? The other reason I don't is, in the past, I've tried, kind of openly standing up and saying, look, guys, there's a better way to do this. We don't have to use shock collars. We don't have to use prong collars. There's a better way. And the issue that I run into is that locally, there's currently in our culture, the word science is a bad word, right? And I'm not really sure how and when that happened. It's just that science has suddenly become something of an enemy, right? So a lot of people around here specifically, if I start saying, look, I'm using a science-based method, I'm observing the dog's behavior, I'm modifying according to what science tells me is the best way to modify their behavior. I'm using objective data that can be seen and replicated by anybody. I'm going to get shut down pretty quickly because the dog trainers, certain people will accuse me of having an agenda. B, and I stress this enough, I have been doing this long enough to know that I can't bog the human down with too much science. The owner wants a result. And so I can explain, learning theory and Pavlov and, operant conditioning, and pick another keyword. It doesn't matter. They're not going through a psychology class. They don't care. They want to change their dog's behavior. I remember once, a couple of years ago, I was in the Dogs of Pensacola group, and I'm not in that group anymore because I got banned from that group. And the reason I got kicked out of it was because I was causing inflammatory posts or posting inflammatory things and pushing an agenda, which, again, I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm just saying, this is what we can observe, and we can say this is what works best for training dogs. And I remember one of the people in that group pointed out that when he was duck hunting with his lab, that saying please and thank you was not going to get his lab to behave when his lab was off leash, hundreds of feet away, retrieving a duck. At the time, I didn't know about a person named Robert Miller who is in Tennessee, and he uses nothing but positive reinforcement training with his duck hunting dogs, and they seem to do just fine. Whatever. Why am I talking about this? I've been doing this long enough to know that before you can change your behavior, you have to want to change your behavior. Before you can change someone's mind about something, they have to be open to change. Easier said than done. Dogs are fairly open to change. If your dog is having a fearfully reactive episode, whether it's manifesting an aggression or not, they would rather have a different result. I can guarantee you. No animal wants to exist in a permanent state of distress. But the human side of the equation complicates things. We as humans, it's easy for us to kind of give in to using punishment, because using punishment on our dogs makes us feel better about what our dogs are doing and what we can't get them to do. There are studies that support that using punishment makes the person doing the punishing feel better about the situation, even if it has a negligible effect on the subject whose behavior you're trying to modify. Why don't I engage in these types of conflicts? Why don't I, crusade for force free? Because I've learned when you're ready to change, you'll change. I used to use prong collars. I never used shocks, but prong and chain, I used to believe in dominance theory. It didn't work. I met a dog where it didn't work. And I changed. And my dog changed. And that change that happened there slowly began to seep its way into other things. I've changed as a person because I've changed how I train my dog. And at the time, I didn't realize that I wanted that change to happen. But it needed to happen. And years removed from it, I can remember it happening very clearly. And I know it's for the better in my life. I'm not going to argue with somebody. If you're an owner who's watching this and you're using a shock collar or prong collar, I will tell you what the science says. And the science says use positive reinforcement. Unless you're ready, though, you're ready. You're not going to make that change. Until you can acknowledge that what you are doing is wrong and it's not working and it's time to do something different, you're not going to see a change, you're not going to make a change, and your dog's behavior isn't going to change. You can suppress the behaviors a little bit, but it's not going away. Why don't I engage with people like this? Because if you attack somebody for holding on to a view that even if it's wrong, you don't agree with it, it's incontrovertible, proven, ineffective, whatever, here's all the evidence, blah, 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 blah. If you attack them and you say, you're wrong because you're doing this, then you've pushed that person further into believing what they think is the right thing to do. And you're making yourself out to be a bad person for attacking them. If someone asks you, hey, I see your dog is doing really well, how did you do that? And you say, all right, well, I got a clicker and I got some treats and I spent some time at home practicing this behavior, and then I slowly raised the stimulation level and whatever. That's different. But just blatantly telling someone, you're bad, you're wrong, what you're doing is bad, what you're doing is wrong, is just going to push those people further into believing what they're doing is right. For change to happen, you have to want to change. And I don't try to force that on people anymore. When you're ready, what's the old phrase? When the student's ready, the master will appear. When you're ready to change, your teacher, whether it's your dog or whether it's a trainer or a friend or a family member or whatever, it'll appear. And it may never appear. You may walk past it because you didn't want to change. But it'll be there when you're ready. And that's why I don't engage in this type of conversations anymore. You walk your path. I walk mine. They intersect for a while. Wonderful. But you're not ready to walk my path until you're ready to leave the path that you're on. So I guess in the end, I guess what I really wanted to say is that if you're watching all this stuff happening, my first piece of advice to you is don't get involved. Nothing good comes from arguing with people on the internet. The second thing I would say is that if you're someone who's using prong or shock or choke or whatever, balance trainers, whatever, all 4 quadrants, whatever. Okay. I'm not going to stop you. I can't stop you. That's between you and your dog. If it works for you, okay. There's a better path. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's harder. But there's a better path. And until people are ready to walk that, you can't make them. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to me rant. I'm going to try to come up with some new training videos soon. Trying to get some things settled here, schedule-wise. And I just, like this week, I just need a free day that I don't really have. But hopefully I'll have some new content soon. If there's certain type of content you want to see, obviously let me know. You want to talk about your dog's behavior, this video, obviously you know how to get in touch with me. But otherwise, it's been great talking to all of you again. And just keep doing what you're doing. Keep training. Keep growing with your dog. Only good things will happen. Bye, everybody.